Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video talking to you about this brand new barrel I got from Strike Industries. If you guys have seen the video that I did with them at SHOT Show, that was the first time I had found out that Strike Industries was working on manufacturing barrels for AR-15 rifles. Kind of caught me off guard, was not expecting it, but now I finally have one in my hands, and I'm pretty excited to see what it can do. This one specifically is a 10.3 inch barrel, so it's basically their version of the Mark 18 barrel. It is chambered in 223 Wild though, different from your typical 5.56 or 223. For those of you who aren't familiar with 223 Wild, it's basically that middle ground between 223 and 5.56, so it's safe to shoot either round while still maintaining a certain level of accuracy. Currently, they have the 10.3 inch barrel, and they also have a 16 inch barrel. So for those of you who either don't have an SBR like this lower here, or you don't want to run a pistol, they do have that full length barrel for you as well. There's a lot to like about these barrels as far as how they make them. These are cold hammer forged barrels. I believe they are QCQ nitrided, and they are also cryogenically treated once they're completed through the manufacturing process. They have a 1-in-8 twist, so that's going to be that good middle ground for different weights of bullets. And probably what is the most promising feature of these is that they proudly stamp their logo on it. Now, unfortunately, the logo itself is covered up by the barrel nut, so I can't show it to you right now, but they do mark their barrels. One of the biggest things to look out for when you're doing your own build is a unmarked barrel, as I learned to call them in my armorer's course that I took. It is a CIA barrel, basically a company that needs plausible deniability that they did not make that barrel that blew up on you or shoots terribly, but they proudly mark their barrels, which is always a good sign when a company is willing to take ownership of the products that they're pumping out. As you can see, as far as the profile of this barrel, it maintains pretty much a medium profile all the way down. Just FYI, the handguard I'm running here is from Timber Creek. I also did a video with them at SHOT Show. I'm testing out, this is their 9-inch key mod handguard, which thankfully, because of how light it is and all the cutouts, you can hopefully really see well that barrel back there. And so you should be able to get a pretty good idea of what profile we're looking at for this barrel. Now today I'm going to be doing my very first shots through this barrel. I haven't shot it prior to today, so I don't intend for this to be a comprehensive review of this barrel. Mainly my goal is to see what kind of accuracy I'm able to get across a bunch of different loads, both 5.56 and 223, just to see how it runs and find out what this thing likes. Also to set a basis for in the future when I do a more comprehensive review, we have a baseline to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. So keep in mind, with the fact that this barrel has not been broken in, obviously the group sizes are going to be subject to change, and also since I'm going to be testing the accuracy, that's why you see the obnoxious for this setup scope on top. This is a Vortex 4-16 scope in a Midwest Industries mount. Obviously, I would not normally run a 10.3 inch barrel with a scope basically longer than the barrel itself, but in order to give myself the best precision for these groups, this will help me do that. Now, one last thing I want to mention before I do get this test underway is, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Strike Industries products. I own a lot of their stuff. I bought this shirt myself as well. However, I did not pay for this barrel. So just full disclosure, they did provide this barrel to me at no cost. But again, the nice thing about this kind of review or this kind of video is you're going to see the results for yourself. So thankfully, there's going to be no room, even if I wanted to have a bias, there's going to be no room for me to finagle these groups or anything like that. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to the part that you and I both are excited for, and that's seeing how this thing shoots. In order to help me find out what this barrel liked, I've run probably close to a dozen different types of ammo through it today. I ran them all through a chronograph, and what I'll go ahead and do is in the description below, because I don't want to take a whole bunch of time showing all those different speeds, I'll list each type of ammo I tried and what the average velocity was. But I did that to kind of figure out, again, what this barrel might like, and then to narrow down what exactly I wanted to shoot more groups of in order to see what this thing can do as far as accuracy. Now, I think it's important to mention, this thing has not really gone through a proper break-in phase. This is the first time I've shot it, and I've put maybe 100 rounds through it so far, so I can only anticipate that these groups are going to get better. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and see. Well, actually, one thing I want to mention too is these results kind of demonstrate how each barrel is its own individual. This barrel shot some things that other barrels I have hate. It shot those really well, and it shot kind of okay stuff that other barrels that I have really, really like. So with that said, let's go ahead and show you some of the results. So these first ones up here on the top are some Fiocchi 50 grain VMAX. Again, on my 11.5-inch BCM upper, I've literally gotten one-hole groups at the same distance. The first group was right at 1.5 inches, 1.504 inches, and then this group up here is 1.726 inches. So not super great. You know, if it hadn't been for this one that dropped low on this group, it would have been a pretty tight group, but unfortunately that's not the case for the full 5 shots. Down here at the bottom, I shot the 77 grain Fiocchi Sierra Match King bullets, which other barrels that I have really, really love. Shot that kind of okay. This group was a little bit bigger at 1.110, and then this group down here closed up a little bit to 0.699. So kind of okay. Again at 50 yards, so take that into consideration. This group over here was actually the last group I shot. I just wanted to give PMC X-Tac another try because I know it shoots really well in my other barrels. Didn't shoot very well when I was doing my velocity tests, and sure enough, it didn't shoot super great over here. Put it right just over 1.5 inches at 1.562 inches. This center group I'll talk about in a minute. Over here, the next groups that I did were the Australian Outback 55 grain Sierra Blitz King. Shot this stuff consistently well. This first group was 0.650 inches, and the second group was just over 1/2 inch at 0.508 inches. So pretty darn good. That's going to be about 1 MOA accuracy. Down here, I was shooting the Norma Tac223 ammo, which has shot pretty well out of some of my other barrels. You know, seemed to do semi-okay with those. First group here at 1.483 inches, and down here just over 1 inch at 1.070 inches. So again, kind of okay. Well, with the exception of that PMC, the last group I shot was one that actually impressed me a lot. It was the IMI 77 grain Sierra Match King. This is the Sierra Match King with the candelure, so it's basically the Mark 262 Mod 1 bullet that the military is using. First group I did when I was doing my tests, my velocity tests, was literally one hole. It was only a 4-shot group because I didn't have enough to do a 5-shot group. But a 4-shot group, literally one hole, and I was not expecting that. This one opened up a little bit, just over 1 inch at 1.008. But then the other group here in the middle, again, the IMI, was at 0.528 inches. So really impressive. And in fact, let me track down where that one hole group is so I can show you that. All right, so this group right here is that IMI 77 grain Sierra Match King stuff again. Again, you can see one ragged hole, again 50 yards, but one ragged hole, 4 rounds, really blew me out of the water. So again, this barrel likes what it likes. It seems to do pretty well, and again, especially when you take into consideration that this barrel hasn't been properly broken in, I can only anticipate that these groups are going to get smaller. You know, like I said at the beginning of this video, this is not meant to be a comprehensive review of this barrel, and I'm sure I'll be doing an update at a you know, sometime in the future, at which point obviously this barrel will have been better broken in, and we'll see if the size of the groups change. But all in all, I'm pretty impressed. And definitely gives me a lot of hope for the future with this barrel. So with that said, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a wrap up. So I think it's safe to say that some of those groups were rather impressive and some of those groups were kind of okay. But again, that's always to be expected with any barrel, and that's why I wanted to test so many different types of ammunition, is to see what this thing is going to like and what it's not going to like. And again, as I've said multiple times, this barrel has not been broken in. So for it to already be doing some of those groups that it was doing, definitely gives me hope for the future. I'm definitely anxious to see once this barrel kind of settles down and settles into shooting more consistently. I'm really anxious to put pretty much the same loads through it and see what changes happen, if any. Like I said at the beginning, this is not meant to be a comprehensive review. I just wanted to see what kind of accuracy we're dealing with right out the gate, and I definitely plan on doing a lot more shooting with this barrel to see what kind of changes happen, what my overall opinion is of it, and see again what kind of changes take place with the accuracy. But we definitely have a really good foundation to work off of with some of those groups. I mean, again, some of those groups with 5 shots were easily 1 MOA size groups once you you know, extrapolate what they would be at 100 yards. Now, there is one other bias that I have towards this barrel that I did not mention at the beginning of the video, so I might as well say it now. These are their Strike Fighter barrels. I didn't mention that. They are called their Strike Fighter barrels, and being someone who worked on the F-15 Strike Eagle, obviously anything with the name Strike Fighter or anything like that is going to have a soft spot in my heart. Probably the only thing they could do better is call it the F-15, but that is... it's definitely holding up to the namesake, so I definitely like that. And one of the other things that I really want to mention too, while I'm thinking of it, is it's really common, especially on these really short Mark 18 style barrels, for companies to be really tempted to blow open that gas port to make sure it's going to cycle without a suppressor, which obviously you can tell I was not shooting it with a suppressor today. Still, I had 100% reliability, but they are still keeping that gas port pretty close to mil spec. It's a little bit bigger than what the mil spec calls for, but given that it's a different chambering than the mil spec, I think having it the couple hundredths bigger works out well. And again, I wasn't dealing with obnoxious amounts of gas back in the face, and it cycled 100% reliably through the 100 or so rounds that I put through it. Obviously, again, that's going to be something I'm going to be analyzing as I continue to shoot it, you know, whether or not it maintains that consistency and reliability with this gas system. I mean, there's some really well-known manufacturers out there who, for a while, were obnoxiously blowing out that gas port, which was dealing with a lot of gas issues, super over-gassed issues with those rifles. I'm glad Strike Industries resisted that temptation and kept that gas port at a manageable size. So I'm really optimistic about the future of this barrel. Like I said, I'll be shooting it a ton more. Once I do the comprehensive review, for those of you who are subscribed to my channel, obviously you'll get the alert. If you aren't already subscribed, I would appreciate it if you consider going ahead and hitting that subscribe button. If you have recommendations or requests for the kind of tests you want to see me put this barrel through once I do my comprehensive review on it, please go ahead and throw those in the comment section down below. I'm always interested to see what you guys come up with as far as recommendations on that kind of a thing. So please put those down. Obviously, I'll have links to Strike Industries' website regarding this barrel, so you can look at all the details yourself and see what they have to say about this thing specifically. But again, I'm really impressed so far. So with all that said, I hope you're able to get something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching. How's it going?
Good.
Living the dream one day at a time.
There you go.
Got a company sent me one of their new barrels, and so I'm trying to see what I can do with it. It's definitely liking certain ammo better than others, but it can be a little hit or miss. I was just shooting some where'd it go? Oh, this stuff. It's 55 grain Sierra Blitz Kings, and I got about 1/2 inch groups, 50 yards, but for a 10.3 inch barrel, it's not too shabby.